what's that movie where the one with Bill Murray where he's in Japan?
Oh, in ScarJo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's terrible. It's Sofia Coppola. We're the worst.
We talk about movies real good.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, presented by CinemaSins.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, a weekly look at everything going on inside the world of CinemaSins. I'm Aaron Dicer, and this week I'm joined by fellow Baffle Gabbers Jonathan Watkins.
Hello.
And Ian Whittington.
Hi.
We write for CinemaSins and TV Sins and do various other things inside the CinemaSins universe as well. Hi, Ian.
They can't be a killer entrance every week. Sometimes you need to lowball just a regular one.
Yes.
It's like the advent calendar and Bad Santa. It's like they can't all be winners, kid.
Yeah, sometimes you got to have a crap one because you know tomorrow is going to be great.
That's right. Listen, I feel like we need to start the show off with the beauty that is Mr. Blobby. I feel like this is way too good to just leave in the outtakes.
I don't wanna. I'm cutting this out. I don't wanna.
Everybody Google Mr. Blobby now.
Yep, that's all I want to say.
Yeah.
We'll get right into the show after this. We'll head right into the SinSide Scoop, and it'll all happen just as it always does. But just
Google it.
For your own benefit, before the outtakes happen, Google Mr. Blobby, just so you know what Ian's childhood was made of.
And now what my nightmares will be made of.
Right.
Oh, just you wait until like the outtake transitions. It's all good.
That's right. Let's get into it, guys. We'll kick it off with the SinSide Scoop.
Blobby, blobby, blobby. Blobby, blobby, blobby.
What's he building in there?
I've got a secret.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
This is a true story.
We're going to take a look at the videos from the week, the process of sending them, how we felt about the stuff we are sinning as well. The commercial sin this week was the Tom Hiddleston Centrum commercial, Centrum being the multivitamin company, but this is from, I believe, Japan, if I'm correct.
I definitely don't remember this at all.
No. This was not something that aired here. This was something that aired there.
What is that thing where you can, like, there's a service that some celebrities are on and you can pay them like so much money to like
Cameo.
say happy birthday. Cameo.
Yeah.
That's what this
It's
felt
really
like.
good.
Like you hired Tom Hiddleston for a cameo.
International ads are the original cameo. Like, I mean, it is crazy some of the huge stars that were paid tons of money just to go to do a weird ad for an international company.
Yeah, that's what's that movie where the one with Bill Murray where he's in Japan.
Oh, in ScarJo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's terrible. It's Sofia Coppola. We're the worst.
we talk about movies real good. What is that one movie?
Holy crap! I've only seen it like once, but I mean that's ridiculous. That like,
Amazing.
oh my god,
yeah,
Lost in Translation. Jeez.
Yeah.
It's like we forgot Jurassic Park or something. It's crazy. That one with the dinosaurs. And the girl from, and then you'll name like a weirder movie, but the girl from Rambling Rose, and
like
the guy from Omen 3.
Like, the guy that directed Duel. Like, come on.
yeah, the guy that directed Sugarland Express.
Yeah, it's your brain just refuses to remember things sometimes. It's the worst. Yeah. It's absolutely the worst. Well, let's talk about this commercial. I wrote this commercial sin script. I think mainly what I would talk about the first time I watched through this was how thirsty this ad is. Like, it's just like the first time watching it, I'm like, he is so just like, I don't know, purposefully seductive in this thing, and it's just like, I don't know, that really kind of blew me away. And then the other thing I had to mention was just such a weird ad for multivitamins, and there's nothing really about multivitamins in it, and this is just really strange. And those fantasy breaking hands at the end that are obviously coming up from somebody who's like kneeling in front of the camera, and like the angle on them is all weird and wrong, and it's just like it's wild. It's wild stuff, guys. What did you think, Ian? I'll let you go first. What did you think about this?
You can, but I'll be talking about the Mentos advert again. as is a recurring theme. Not entirely my fault, but I watched the wrong commercial, so it sounds wild.
Wait, you really watched the wrong one?
No, genuinely, I missed the second email. Honestly, like that, I read that second email.
We talked about this half an hour ago. How have you not like? Why didn't we just like stop and just let you watch?
When I'm in showbrain, I'm in showbrain.
That would have been the time to bring this up, Ian.
Yeah, it's like Ian's like.
You had such a great flow, and I didn't want to disturb it and then miss out. And we could have missed Mr. Blobby if I'd have stopped
commercial
to watch
sins are
Hiddleston
short.
be handsy.
They're short. We're watching it right now. We can do it. Like you
fine.
can. You're
gonna bring it up for me. I don't want to do any legwork.
All right. Sure. I think I can do that. I think I can do that.
Danae never left.
If there was one person to switch Danae out with, you've picked well.
Amazing. All right,
No,
I'm going to search.
I wasn't kidding.
I cannot believe this.
I love the
He was obviously kidding, right?
I was not kidding. I was like, why do people keep laughing at me? I'm not joking.
So many opportunities for you to say, by the way, I did that. I watched the wrong one.
I did, and you moved past it. I was like, I guess we'll just make it part of the show.
I thought for
did not.
sure you were joking because.
Okay, I missed that entirely.
It's wild. All
I
right,
was like,
so
I clearly don't mind.
it's just amazing. Ian has now played a fast forward in time sound, and we go to live to Ian for immediate thoughts on the Tom Hiddleston Centrum ad.
He's like, I did not know I had a crush on Tom Hiddleston until I watched it.
No, I knew that. I 100% knew that. And this may have lessened that crush somehow. You're right. It's like a cameo vid. It's so he filmed this in his own kitchen and doesn't know what he's advertising. Like that was just a blank bottle, and they superimposed Centrum on it afterwards.
Right? Yeah.
That breakfast is bullshit. Like that's just peppers and one egg. I don't understand what kind of a breakfast
It looks like
that
a
is.
salad to me.
It's
Was that not a salad?
It's a salad with an egg on top of it. Yeah.
It's a breakfast salad.
I love that you ate a thesaurus for that one scene. That was amazing.
Did I miss? Did you wrote this one, right, Aaron?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. This was me.
Yeah, that becomes apparent. There were complicated words in it. Yeah, that's a wild advert. That's really strange.
It is. Jonathan, what about you?
Oh yeah, I mean, I thought it was really funny. And it's just a weird commercial. And I was trying, and I didn't look into it, so I didn't know it was only in Japan or whatever. Because I was like, I know I haven't seen this. Like, what is this? Because when I saw Tom Hiddleston at first, I assumed it was one of those Loki commercials, like where he's, you know what I'm talking about? Like they did those. Oh, maybe you don't know what I'm talking about, Aaron, because you don't watch commercials. But they did when Loki was on, they did like some car commercial or something with him, and he was.
Oh, interesting.
So I assumed that's what this was, and when I was like, well, that's not what this is. This is very, like Aaron said, it's very thirsty and kind of feels naughty.
It does. It feels weirdly.
It really is weirdly naughty.
That's just our American hang-ups, probably. But I love the talking heads thing. This is not my beautiful nightgown. These are not my beautiful feet. Is the way Chris delivered that, and then obviously finishing early was really.
I was really pleased with Chris's delivery on "I requested loops of fruits," and there were several people in the comments that just shouted that out. I also love that we spelled fruit appropriately in that, because that is one of those Mandela effect things that people think Fruit Loops are spelled like actual fruit, but they're not. They're FROOT, which kind of blew my mind the first time I realized that. It's just like the Berenstein Bears all over again.
Well, that's like Rice Krispies is spelled with a K.
And saying male and male differently.
Yes, that as well.
Wait, what?
All right, let's move into TV Sins fourth week. Back to Invincible for Neil Armstrong. Eat Your Heart Out. This is the episode where they went to space. Cardoso Watkins script on this one. Jonathan and Daniel writing on it. So yeah, Jonathan, kick us off with some of your thoughts of this show and in this episode.
I mean, I think I've talked enough about. I could probably talk enough about the show. I mean, I like the show a lot. This is if people haven't listened to us talk about the other Invincibles, this is one of my all-time favorite comics. I've read the entire run, and it's really great. And I think they do a really good job of adapting it all. This episode, though, the one thing about this episode, and I'm glad Daniel wrote something about. I mean, I think maybe I did too, but Daniel's was better. But it opens with that mummy thing, and then never goes back to it. It's just like, I don't
So
care about this
weird.
Martian crap. But let's find out about the mummy. But anyways, you got to be patient sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a really fun one to work on. I really enjoy sending this show and I think it's because I enjoy watching it. So I will mention a couple things Daniel said that I really enjoyed. I liked him calling that one character Bryant Mumble. I thought that was great. And then just Mark's stupidity with that sandwich. Just being like surprised that, that Ziplocs don't work in space. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought that was really fun.
It's frozen? What? I don't understand.
What?
How does space work? Ian, what about you? What are some of your thoughts?
I don't know if we've talked about Invincible since I've been on the show, but I really, really like it. Or liked it. I'm glad it's getting another season. Yeah, this episode was weird, and it kind of shifted from being all about violence and showing as much gore as possible to how can we creep you out as much as possible? Like the relationship, in quotation marks, drama between the I can't remember anyone's names, but the guy and the girl that turns into a monster and de-ages. What a questionable story turn and direction to take that in. Yeah, really, really, really weird. But yeah, love the sinning. The one with the demonic circle really confused me because the noise of the demon growling came in so subtly. I looked over my shoulder. Is that? Oh no, it's the sin. It's the sin. Is there a demon in here? I'll deal with that later. I absolutely loved when Omni-Man is talking to his wife. It was like, I love that about you. Don't you give me that shit. Marriage. That just sounded like the voice of somebody who knows. I don't know if that was you, Jonathan.
No, it was Daniel. It really was. In fact, I read that and I was like thinking, because like I'm married, and I was like, and I was like, no, that's fair. So Daniel wrote the demon stuff too. That might be one of those where people assumed it was me, but no, that was definitely Daniel. He came up with all the demon stuff, which was really funny.
It's so good. The animated extra that, man, I hadn't noticed this, but the extra that's staring right into the camera.
So funny.
Like someone animated like that stuff doesn't happen accidentally. Like,
no,
he's been drawn to stare at the camera. It's like dead eyes. And so many people in the comments were like, yeah, I now can't and don't want to see that ever again. It's so creepy.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to research drag coefficients, but I'm guessing those rectangular cuboids have a lot of drags and coefficients. It's one of those sins where I would have been, I'm going to have to research this and I'll see what the ideal shape is. And it wouldn't have been as funny as just taking the mick out of coefficients and drags and just holding on to the ignorance and saying, I'm not going to do the research. I just know that's wrong.
Yeah. Which the chat was very kind to point out actually probably isn't wrong because of the lack of, or the vacuum of space or whatever.
But you still need to get there. You have to, most of the fuel is used getting to space in the squishy bit that is our atmosphere.
Yep. I hear you.
It's almost like that's in nitpicking the nitpickers of the nitpickers later on.
Yeah, almost should be. I loved this. The sitting of the skip button was so fun, and there's always going to be at least one in the comments who's like, how can you guys sin the skip button and also sin the intros at the same time? And welcome to the channel. Have a beautiful day. We love you.
You must be new here.
This is what we do, and it is the point of what we do is that you can sin it both ways. I love specifically about that the use of Elmer's glue and climbing chalk as the example of what happens when you eat Cheetos for too long. I thought that was great. The pointing out of how Mark's legs were angled wrong in that one scene was brilliant because they are.
Genius.
How is he walking straight? He shouldn't be.
He's doing like a pas de bourrée in order to stay on track. Like he's double stepping somehow.
It's wild. It is wild. And then I had to mention the alone, their group mind is scattered and weak, but with an appropriate host, they become unified and unstoppable, was the line in the show. And then the sin is just Snyder Bros. Had to mention that as well.
That was too mean. Was that you, Jonathan?
I don't remember. I remember Daniel and I discussed it because I was thinking that too, but I don't remember if I actually wrote it. I honestly can't remember.
It's kind of a compliment. Amazing. Unstoppable, man. Like it's,
I guess.
It's just there's no shade there.
And it might even have been something else, and then we changed it to that. I can't remember now. It's it's been a few weeks.
It has been. So that's Invincible. Let's move on to Arcane. We decided to send the first episode of the Netflix show. Lots of buzz among animation fans. Welcome to the Playground was the name of the first episode. So it's a Dicer Hughes script. Danae and I writing on this one. So I guess I get to kick this one off. I think as far as this show goes, I think I respect it quite a bit. It's really trying to do something big. It's not trying to be the typical video game adaptation. We're going to take characters from the game and, do fun action scenes based on how the game is played. By the way, this is based on League of Legends, in case that was a piece of information you didn't know. It really says, okay, we're going to take characters from the game, but just a couple of them, and really go full-on world-building backstory that has, other than, Easter egg references, nothing to really do with the gameplay of, League of Legends. And in fact, there was that scene in there that I loved writing because, by the way, my children all love playing League, and so I've kind of gotten into League a little bit over the years. I've watched the national championships and the world championships and those kind of things.
Oh, nice.
It's really fun. It's a fun spectator video game sport to watch, especially if you kind of know some of the basics. But I did write that scene about can't wait for the writers to incorporate a 1-3-1 shove with a scalar ADC in mid while the show is waiting for Baron to spawn. Just as a shout out to other League fans, that is like, nope, this show isn't about that. It has no interest in being actually about the game. It has interest in doing backstory kind of stuff. So yeah, I kind of really respect it. I am, however, not really interested in watching the whole series. There's something about it that just didn't quite pull me in a way where I was like, oh, I have to find out what happens here. I did enough research on what happens later on to use it in the Sins video. But yeah, I've heard great things, but I'm not motivated to watch it. So the only other thing I wanted to mention was the indestructible children. I mean, they are actual children. Like, I don't understand how they're jumping 40 feet across roofs and roofs. And surviving these falls. But maybe in this world, humans are a little more like superheroes. So
they're animated.
What?
They can do whatever the animator tells them to do.
It's true, including look directly in the camera. Yes. Jonathan, what about you? What do you think about Arcane?
I watched the episode because I was the third person in the shadow involved on this. And I mean, obviously, there's got to be something there because so many people genuinely love it. I've seen so much talked about it, but yeah, I'm like you. Nothing in it really grabbed me. I don't know anything about the video game. I'm not a gamer, and I don't know if that has to do with it. I'll be honest, the animation was not really my cup of tea, but it's interesting because it felt very much like video game animation, which I think is maybe that's why they did it that way. But I'm not used to. Since I'm not a gamer, I'm not really used to that style and watching that. So I don't know, maybe that's part of it. So that's probably more of a me thing. But yeah, I mean, people love it. So I'm glad we got to mess around with it. It was fun. As far as sins, I just like saying a question is both asinine and answerine.
Answerine, yes.
Answerine, yes.
It's crazy those words mean such similar things, but people usually go with asinine, but answerine's right there as well.
How will anyone retrieve this when swimming clearly hasn't been invented yet when they drop the thing in the water? And I was just glad you guys followed up that 20-cent threat with the sandwiches. That was good to hear.
But what about the sandwiches? Yeah.
The Friends outtake was great too, by the way. Whoever put that in.
I remember that being Danae because she said, oh, do you remember this moment with a sandwich? And I was like, yeah, Ross's sandwich. And she went, what? And she was like, yeah, no. And then says about what? And then I named it. And she was like, how do you remember this shit? This is why I'm bad at my job. I'm like, no, I just have a stupid memory for dumb scenes from Friends. It does nothing for me day to day.
Yeah. Ian, what about you? Thoughts on Arcane?
Yeah, I never got into League of Legends. I actually love the animation of this show. So all I've seen is the Sins video, but I'm kind of ishly tempted to watch it. I'll probably watch episode 1 and give it a bash. But yeah, I think it looks really, really interesting. my biggest question was, and you've answered it, was who researched all of the references, who plays LOL? Because I don't. And I was like, it can't be Aaron. And I think I'd know if Danae, like, she's into her video games. I think it would have come up at some point. So, yeah, the references, I didn't understand them, but I knew they were actual references and that somebody had really done their homework. So if that had been... I'm less impressed now that you have some interest in it and that your kids play it. Like, if that had just been doing the background knowledge to make these references and suddenly you became an overnight League of Legends expert, I would have been impressed. So you can hold on to my
you can be
almost
a little
admiration.
bit. I did a lot of research. A lot of like a lot of the Easter eggs, especially I didn't know. I had to I researched those, like the cupcakes that were left out on that is a direct reference to a character called Caitlin that comes up in the show later. So so I did a lot of research because this is one of those things where I'd like to be right if we can be. We don't have to be. We can certainly get stuff wrong, but when you have those little extra bits of knowledge, you can kind of wink at the people who know a little bit better. So yeah, I did quite a bit of research on the Easter eggs and stuff. Yeah,
it's always fun. It's nice to. It's almost us doing fan service as well. Like, it's nice to do that for ones that will know, definitely. In terms of the sins, thinking you can make good content based on a video game, lol. That was the biggest wink, wink, nudge, nudge sin I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, that's fun.
And just the outtake that had Bloodsport and his daughter arguing backwards and forwards over the smart, the TV watch was beautiful. So good.
As soon as there was a father-daughter argument, that's going to be the first thing in my mind. Anytime a father and a daughter argue in a TV show or a movie now is the Suicide Squad.
Slap it in.
Scene. There you go. That is Arcane. Let's move into CinemaSins. We'll start it off with Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This was a Dicer Scott script. Jeremy and myself writing on this one. I will start and just say I really like this movie a lot. I think this movie is really good. I think Marvel did some really smart things with it. Yes, of course, the third act in Marvel is very much a formula, but it's a formula that comes from a place that works for them, and they've seen it work time and time again. I'd love to see them freshen it up a little bit, and occasionally they do. Doctor Strange has a really good third act that's different from a lot of the other Marvel stuff. But this is, there's a lot of the same versus same CGI battle kind of stuff that goes on in most Marvel properties here. But other than that, the respect for the culture, some of the best action that Marvel's ever done, in my opinion, is in this movie. Yeah, it's really, really good. So I had a really good time with this movie. Also had a really good time sitting it. The semantic argument over the idea of changing the course of history versus setting the course of history is just like, that is the stuff that gets me going. Like, I love the idea to really nitpick language in a way. Like, is it really changing the course of history? Only if there's time travel involved. If there's not time travel involved, it's setting the course of history.
You have to know that this isn't the way things were always going to go in order to change them. Yeah.
Or everything that everybody does is changing the course of history. That's the other option, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's like the other option is even better. Like, setting the course. Right. You're absolutely right. Setting the course is badass. That's awesome.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then just the other thing that really bothered me, and it didn't really bother me, but that was easy to sin, was just how the rings are used in this movie is so dependent on what the movie wants to do. Like, if it wants it to be drawn out, the rings will be used a certain way. If it wants to show something cool, the rings will be used in a different way. As opposed to when you really have something like this, you probably have this OP move that you would go to first almost every time. But it's fun to see all the creative uses for it, but it doesn't make sense logically for somebody who, has them in many ways. At least that's kind of how I took it. So, but man, it was fun to sin. Ian, why don't you go next? What are some of your thoughts?
I need to rewatch this because I came out of the cinema being really underwhelmed. Other than loving every second of anything that Michelle Yeoh does, because she is just the flipping best. Awkwafina just annoyed the biscuits out of me.
I have other friends who get really annoyed by her, and I don't get it.
I love her, man.
Yeah, I do too.
It's the self-awareness. She is the audience member that's in the film.
Sure.
And I think that's kind of preloaded because it's something that she does a lot. Now in Swan Song, she's not doing that. She's still sarcastic and dry and kind of what we know her for, but for some reason it worked. In this, it grated on me, just like nails on a chalkboard. But that's so subjective. That's not necessarily something to judge the film badly for. But the action was fantastic. The ending, basically everything from Trevor onwards, I checked out. I was like, I could have liked this until we got to there, and it became an essay in defense of Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
And some of the final battle is like gorgeous, so pretty. Like you could make portraits out of it. But yeah, I need to rewatch it because I think now that I've put some of those things to bed, I think I'd enjoy it a lot more. But the Sins video echoed exactly what I was thinking. Just from Trevor onwards, I was like, you couldn't have just let that bad decision lay in the past.
I disagree with you though. They had to address Iron Man 3. They had no choice. If you're going to make the Mandarin a villain, you're going to have to address what happened.
But they did in that short thing, didn't they? Like, just leave it there.
But Ben Kingsley was hilarious.
Yeah, I loved Kingsley in this. Yeah, I really did.
No, I'm sorry. No, the Trevor stuff in this was hilarious. Like that was one of the things I actually liked about this movie because most of the time they try to do comedy. I don't think it works at all. I thought it was dead on in this one. I was laughing a ton.
That stuff about Planet of the Apes was great. That slayed me. That whole
and the
Planet
little
of the
creature,
Apes conversation.
what's the creature's name?
Morris.
The faceless fluff
Morris.
thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
love Morris, man.
Yeah,
That was
someone
perfect.
sits on it.
It's an ottoman. It is an ottoman. It's an ottoman with wings.
It was Gizmo.
Yeah.
I mean, it was perfect. It was like a perfect Gizmo. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Where are its eyes? Anyway, the abomination sin was perfect. It was so trolly. It was like, I have no idea why they think these Easter eggs are necessary. I can't even remember what it's called. I just know it's an abomination.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So good. And I genuinely don't know why. That was the definition of, hey, what can we slip in here?
Yeah.
And are you going to use it later on? And also the scale seemed... I'm not going to be that guy, but I am going to be that guy. Abomination looked friggin' huge in The Incredible Hulk, and it looked diddy in this. I don't know. Something was wrong there. But I nearly died laughing when they're on the bus. It says, oh my God, he almost sliced his junk. And then they both pause as if to say, oh my God, I just clipped your penis, bro. It's just so good. Just the way Jeremy delivered that. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I nearly clipped your penis. It's ironic that the sin is, this isn't funny, and yet I laughed so much.
Well, the sin isn't as much it isn't funny. The sin is it happens all the time in movies where it's like a blade pops through, and it's like, oh, that was almost my crotch. Oh,
isn't this great? Went between my legs, and we're both going to pause to acknowledge it so that the audience can acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And of course, naturally, I think 15 or 16 different words for the 10 rings was beautiful, and just the different variations, and you still know what Jeremy is talking about.
Yeah,
so good.
That was fun too because it was it was addressed, I think, in Slack. I think Jeremy was like
that in Slack.
Yeah, Jeremy was like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing," and I was like, "Then I'll do it too." And then you guys threw in some ideas, and yeah,
much fun.
That was a lot of fun. Glad people liked it. Jonathan, what about you?
Yeah, I like this. This was easily my favorite MCU movie of 2021. But I'm with you though, Aaron. I do think it gets a little too. I mean, it gets predictable, like most of these movies do towards the end. So that does take it down at least a notch. We did a mini pod on it when it came out, and I remember I said at the time, I was like, I haven't completely decided. I was like, but right now I'm debating whether or not this is my favorite Marvel MCU movie. It's not like I think I moved it down to I think it was like third or fourth, but it's still up there in that top 5 discussion for me. I think it's the best action. The bus scene just blew my mind, and it was so cool watching that. My daughter came to the movies and watched that one with me, which she normally doesn't go see the Marvel stuff with me, but she came to this one, and I mean, just watching her get so overjoyed watching that scene made it even better, because I mean, she was just like, what is going on?
That's cool.
Yeah.
that was that was a lot of fun. And I do think the CG in this is way better than it normally is. And I don't know if that's just because of the fantastical elements of the land that they're in and stuff like that. I don't know if they just all were able to mesh all that together. I saw somebody in the chat mention the making of it's on Disney Plus, and I might check that out because I am kind of curious about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoyed it. It gets a little predictable at the end, but I enjoyed it. I do love Iron Man 3, so I had no issue with those references, but I understand if you don't like it. I did see many people say they liked Iron Man 3 more after they saw this, which I thought was cool. So maybe one of these days.
I mean, that's the idea behind retconning, right? Like that's the goal.
That's like a lot of people. I remember when Creed, which I already loved Rocky 4, but I remember when Creed 2 came out, a lot of people said that, like, oh, this actually makes Rocky 4 a better movie, and I'm like, hell yeah, it does.
That is fascinating. That's a thing that can actually happen.
It does.
You're watching the same thing, but extra context really helps.
I guess. Well, and I think people were happy that they actually brought the Mandarin into it. I think that's probably, the people that were irritated. And we haven't even mentioned Tony Long, man. Tony Long is, I think I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know. I might not be, but he's amazing.
Yeah.
And I really liked him. I liked it. It's a good movie. It was a really fun video. You guys seem to be having a lot of fun with it. Why would gods use martial arts was really funny to me.
Yeah.
Which I wish, I almost wish when I heard that, I was like, oh man, we should have had Jeremy do like a Kirk, like from Star Trek 5. Like, why would God need a starship?
I think only 5 people would get that reference, but it would be worth it.
Well, I don't know, man. I think more than 5 people would get it.
If you changed it, if you kept it as God needed a spaceship, then yeah. But if you changed
that's true.
It may have been missed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But it was.
Well, you
it
could
was
do.
awesome.
Why would a god need martial arts and a spaceship? Like you could add like as an afterthought or something. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, did Jeremy write on this one with you? Is that right?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, so he definitely 100%, I believe he wrote. Now, see, if that were David Dunn, that probably would have killed him.
I didn't get that reference. Is that an American
thing?
Well,
it's a Glass/Unbreakable, mostly Glass, because the ending of Glass really pisses Jeremy off.
Oh, for crying out loud! I forgot the character's name. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're right. That's so dumb.
And then replacing Skip with Blip, I loved it.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing because that's an Ian. Ian had that idea
so happy
on the TV side, and I can't remember if we've released one with that on the TV side yet.
Not yet. We haven't.
So it appears in CinemaSins first. Yeah,
because I dreamt a sin into existence, and I messaged Aaron and Danae about it, and I just said I can't believe that for all of the Marvel shows post Blip, we haven't switched out Skip with Blip because it's right there and it does exactly the same thing. And so that's what we've done ever since Dreamy came up with that. And then it came up in Shang-Chi, and I'm like, God damn it, it's not even in my script yet.
I know. I did.
I love it.
I'm glad we're getting to talk about it here because it was one of those things like, I have to do that here. They're literally talking about the Blip. And it's a perfect place for it. So I'm glad it's going to be
great
there,
too, because by the time we talk about that TV Sins video, we'll have forgotten we had this conversation. It'll be like it's brand new. It was so cool we used Blip. And then we'll talk about the origin of it again. It'll be awesome.
Yeah. Amazing.
And then I'll ask Ian is how the UK and England are different, like how is it separated?
Yep. Which I still got wrong.
Yeah.
I still did it wrong.
Yeah, I told my wife that. I was like, he keeps getting it wrong. She's like, doesn't he live there? I'm like, yeah, but it's like, but if you were to ask me about some specific American geography, I might mess that up. Like there's an 85% chance I'm gonna mess that up.
Yeah. The only other thing I would mention is was that a Jesus callback, and then labeling it an Easter egg, which is just too easy. All right, let's move into the Princess Diaries. This was a Hughes Whittington script. Ian and Danae writing on this one. Ian, kick us off. Some thoughts on the feminist icon that is the.
It felt like Ian
Princess
and Danae
Diaries.
wrote this. Like
doesn't it?
It was just like, yeah, that's what's going on.
When we sent, Jeremy was the reviewer on this one, and we combined it and then sent it on to Jeremy, and he was like, this feels a little bit long, but then I read it, and it was like, everything kind of needs to stay. And there was almost a bit of hesitation with how I'm going to say vitriolic we got towards some of the stuff this movie does, because it is, for some reason that I will not understand, beloved by people. And cool, love the movies you love, but this is not a good movie to show your kids. This is sending some hideous messages that just wound the whatsits off of me and Danae, and seeing it wind up Danae kind of made me think, okay, good, this isn't a man being a man and being stupid.
Right.
This is absolutely from a woman's point of view as well.
No,
this
yeah,
is
well,
some
Danae's
horrible
made it
stuff.
very clear she's not a fan of princess stuff. Like, that's just not her jam at all, so...
Even beyond that, it's oh man, it just got to me. Like, what summed it up was when her grandmother is explaining how the world thinks that princesses should be a certain way, and they fall in love at the end of the movie. And I'm like, fuck you, Disney. We think that because you told us that. That's why. It's like Disney in a Disney film explaining everything that's wrong with Disney princesses. I was like, no.
It reminds me of the marketing scene in Cars 3. So there's a scene in Cars 3 where they go into this shop and it's like all these maters and whatever, and they start talking about how marketing is killing the sport and that kind of stuff. I'm like, this is you, Disney. This is exactly what you do. Like,
it's almost more offensive because it's acknowledging what it's doing.
I think they have to know. They have to know.
Yeah, I feel like the Cars 3 was supposed to be like they were making fun of something
a little
about
bit self-deprecating. Yeah,
it has to be.
It has
you
to
can't
be.
miss that. You can't.
I don't know that that's true here, though. I don't know that they're being self-deprecating here.
I
don't think so.
I haven't seen this movie. My daughter watches. I don't think my daughter's watched this. I have no idea because I've never seen it. So if she's seen it like at a friend's house or something, I'm not aware. But obviously she was into like dressing up as princesses and stuff when she was a little younger. She watches a lot of the Disney movies, like the animated stuff with princesses. I just feel like most people, in my general opinion, most people don't really pay attention to that, though. I feel like the average person that watches a movie definitely isn't going to the depth we're going.
Oh, no, for sure. And you have to remember that as well.
I'm not saying it's not offensive, but I think why this movie, though, was a hit is because, A, Anne Hathaway just jumped off the damn screen, and you
charisma,
you can tell
so much
she's
charisma.
great.
Yeah.
She's great.
And Julie Andrews was kind of doing a similar, like, she's not Mary Poppins, but I mean, it's just like Julie Andrews is back. She's kind of doing that type of like thing, and I think that's what people were driven to. And I think younger women probably, you've got a movie about a younger woman, and I know like I agree. I'm not disagreeing with what you and Janae are saying, nor do I even have a place to say anything because I'm a dude. But I assume that's why people liked it and weren't really thinking about the bigger picture. That's my guess.
Oh, for sure. I would like, there was a way to make this film and not have it have such horrible messages in it, like the makeover, for example.
I'm sure.
The makeover's the worst. That's my biggest complaint with the movie
that
is
was
the makeover.
horrendous.
Yeah.
It's huge. Like, you have to have straight hair, you have to wear makeup, you have to look this way. And if you have curly hair, need glasses, or have eyebrows, then there's no way that you can be a princess. And
the straight hair is a thing, though. Even today, like my daughter, like her cheer team, like they have to have straight hair. Like that's like a regulation. Which now my daughter doesn't have super curly hair, so it's not that big of a deal. But for somebody that does, like that's that's
and this
a
is
mess.
reinforcing that, whether it means to or not. It absolutely is. So yeah, that just, I think, because I knew about the makeover scene, that probably preloaded some of my thoughts about the rest of the film as well.
Sure. Yeah.
I will say in the case of Cheer, though, there could be something. I don't know if it's so much a visual thing as it might even be just I don't know what could get caught in curly
could be a
hair.
health and safety thing, but just tie it back. Like you can tie it back anyway.
I think it is a visual thing, but it's more a synchronized visual thing. Like it's more the idea of like
they want everyone to look the same.
Yeah.
Everyone has to look the exact same.
Yeah.
And that's never resulted in anything horrific in our history.
No, not at all. No, not at all. That's like,
my goodness.
No, that's always ends great, Ian.
Yes.
Yeah, that's always a great motto
good.
to have. Yeah, in terms of the sins, I had to do something with the song. So an album came out alongside this film because Disney gonna Disney, and there's a couple of famous people on it, but I couldn't stop laughing. Whenever there was a scene transition, the song that came on, the line wasn't necessarily from the chorus. It was whatever line was on screen at the time. Like, it may as well have been Mia skateboarding down the road to a tune. I was like, it was so on the nose. But yeah, singing it every single time just gets a bit repetitive. So what am I going to do here? Let's make Jeremy sing it. So he just sings throughout the whole video.
It was so great.
Oh, I love it so much. And he obviously... I put a link into every song, and he just nailed every single tune.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, my notes are just, this is horrible, this is disgusting. I don't think I did any other sins.
I wonder if there is a princess movie out there similar to this that actually isn't as degrading. I'm sure there is, but I can't think
Princess
of
and the Frog, maybe? I don't know.
Frozen is the one that a lot of people talk about.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
But,
maybe even Tangled to a point. I haven't seen Tangled in forever.
Sure.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Danae's sin about Queen Rinaldi having such a simple name, and that she would much rather it was Queen Clarice Von Tess being best the rest of forevermore. Howdy Rinaldi. It's
good stuff. Yeah,
it's so good. And I loved the outtakes where we've got the helicopter coming towards the beach.
Yes.
And it cuts to Die Hard. It's like, we can take out the terrorists.
That was amazing.
25% casualties max. And then the helicopter carries onto the beach.
Have we talked about here
so
on
much
BTS that the outtakes are back at the end of the videos?
We haven't. Hey guys, the outtakes are back at the end of the videos.
It's nice. It's nice. I like having them there.
It's handy.
It feels good.
It's nice.
It feels good.
That's been about like a week or two, I guess.
That they've been back. Yeah. Something like that.
And there still might be some that they're not. I can't remember if there's.
I guarantee there will.
There absolutely will. Okay.
There will be some that are separate. But yeah.
Yeah, that's all
for
from
the
me.
most part.
Sorry, rant over.
No.
You're good. Hey, did you say what you were talking about the song? So was Jeremy singing songs from the movie?
Okay,
I didn't know what he was singing, so I was curious. It was very funny.
Yeah, the very first time it happens, I got him to say that from now on I'm going to sing each of them and add 100 sins as a little bit of a marker. So yeah, all of those were actual songs that were transitioning from scenes.
Nice.
That just literally sang what was happening on screen. It's so dumb. It may as well have been narration.
Yeah. I don't know that I've seen this movie in any time recent enough to have any genuine thoughts beyond just what this video reminded me of. I think both of you have mentioned my main takeaways, which are some of the stuff does not hold up very well. The makeover scene is abhorrent in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And Anne Hathaway is one of the most charismatic humans to be in front of a camera. I just think she's incredible. She's another one that has gotten hit by this, I will say, slightly sexist thing that happens to some women where that woman is too happy, having too much fun. She's too bubbly. She's too, we mentioned the Ariana DeBose thing, right? That was, this nothing that was made into an article or whatever. But that's that same kind of energy of, bringing this, woman down to size. She's just too happy and
it must be demure and
something like that. And I was trying to...
Sorry.
Go. No. I was trying to remember if people like Julia Roberts ever got some of that, or because
Maybe.
I think Anne Hathaway is kind of a next generation Julia Roberts in many ways. Just she pops off the screen like that. But yeah, I really enjoy her here. What did you want to say, Jonathan?
I was just going to say the thing where I realized how much I liked her was when I was watching Ocean's 8, which isn't a great movie by any means.
Sure.
But just the fact that you have an insanely strong female cast in that, and I thought Hathaway stole the scene every time she was in it, and that's from like Sandra Bullock and Rihanna, who's like larger than life, Helena Bonham Carter, so I just thought that was pretty. I was like, oh yeah, no, I really do like Anne Hathaway. Like she's really good. Like I always thought she was
incredible.
good, but I just remember that movie kind of took it up for me.
As far as specific sins, full of amazing stuff. Well done. Yeah. How much of this movie is left? All of it? Just made me laugh. What about the soy nuts now? Made me laugh as well. The part where the movie is like, you look like Shaft. And he says yes. And then the narrator just goes, no. It was just perfect.
I wanted to say more. But
no, that's all you need. And it's beautiful. I had to mention she already is beautiful. Beauty is subjective. Well said. I might semantically change the last word to inherent, but that's
No, that's fair.
I agree with Aaron, but I feel like there's a take a drink or a bingo card point that Aaron talks about beauty being inherent.
I know. That's
and
why
I 100%.
He's
I
not
100% agree. 100% agree.
It is,
but it's like we know, Aaron. We know.
I think attraction is subjective. You know, like that is definitely something where, like, what are you
Not something
physically
really
attracted
help
to?
either, right? You're just. Well,
Right,
I don't want
yeah,
to say
I mean-
you can't. I don't want to say you can't help. That might not. Well, that gets into some weird territory there. But it is just something that, like you said, it's subjective.
It's based on a lot of things. It's based on how you were raised. It's based on your experiences. There's a lot of things attraction is based on. Genetics, for sure.
Sometimes it's demeanor. Sometimes it's
absolutely
sense of humor. All kinds of stuff. So.
But beauty, I don't know that beauty is subjective. I think it's just inherent. I think everyone is beautiful. I think it's just anyhow. I love that thing. I think we already mentioned the calling out Disney on its own stuff, but the way that scene ended was Disney, you've done it again, and it's just the sarcasm and the stab there is just beautiful. Then do you know why your pants are down? I wanted to mention that.
Why?
It's like,
it's
why?
not explained.
It's not explained at all. Jonathan, what about you?
Yeah, I've never seen this. This came out when I was an adult, so I didn't have a kid or anything. And like Ian and Danae have made me aware, probably didn't need to show it to him if I did have a kid. But I think that you guys have mentioned the just calling out Disney for complaining about what they're doing, and that was my favorite part of this 100% because I thought that was fair. And like, it does feel like whereas in Cars 3, we can kind of go, well, maybe they're taking a wink at themselves, but here I don't think they are at all. I think this is just the movie they're making, and they don't realize that they're like responsible for all this stuff. But anyways, I loved you guys sending the kid that almost sits down on her, and then instead of finding another seat, he just walks off. Like he's like, I don't need to sit anymore. I'm good.
That scene had a run of like 6 scenes just about that kid and just what was happening there that we had to cut it down to 3.
By the way, and like I said, I haven't seen this movie, but all the male characters to me, they just looked like they all look the same. Like they just like they all look like they had no personality whatsoever.
They're just all blank. Yeah.
Yeah. I like you guys send the character having to clarify that the grandmother who is alive was the one that called her. Like this movie, it's going to, like, I almost wish you had said the one that was dead, because then we're getting into some interesting stuff. Like, what is this about? I think you guys may have mentioned that, but Mia would be the princess at CinemaSins, whether she likes it or not. I thought that was really
had
funny.
to be in there at some
Why
point.
Why was Julie Andrews referred to as on Golden Pond?
Because she is on Golden Pond.
No.
Is she not?
No.
Nitpicking the
Catherine
nitpickers.
Hepburn and Jane Fonda.
Wait, but it's in her IMDb.
Oh, if she is, it's a small role. I don't remember her being in it. That's why I thought there was something I was missing. I wasn't trying to like call you out. I was honestly curious why she was.
She's on 2000.
1980, 1981.
No, it's the remake.
Oh, well then that works.
She's on Golden 2001 American live television adaptation of the play of the same name. She's in an adaptation.
No, that's cool. I had no idea.
We're good. We're covered.
We're good. Don't pull the video. Pull it down.
There's so many things that could be. I wasn't trying to I was just really curious.
Her IMDb is surprisingly sparse, so I was running out of things to call her. I'd done like Mary Poppins, Fake Queen of England. I was running out.
What's interesting too is Julie Andrews, speaking of her, who I love, she's kind of been a part of all this in a weird way, because she was in a movie called SOB. I think it's like, I've never seen it, but it's like 80 or 81. I know there's a big, I know she takes her top off in that movie. And I remember at the time, like that was a big deal, because it's like, oh, Miss Disney. Mm-hmm. And then there was some, and I think the movie might have even been kind of about that, because her husband directed it, Blake Edwards. She was married to Blake Edwards. Yeah. Have you seen that movie, Aaron? I
haven't. I've seen 10, right? That's a Blake Edwards movie, isn't it?
Yeah,
and she's in that too. Isn't she in 10?
She might be, but that's Bo Derek and Danny Dudley Moore. But anyways, I just thought that was interesting. And then bribery, the only surefire way to keep your princess friends, I thought was great.
Yeah.
And,
well, the 1-2 punch
back to back.
Yeah, back to back of that was really fun. Yeah.
And I love the Lethal Weapon 2 outtake. Whoever came up with that, I thought that was hilarious. Diplomatic immunity.
Diplomatic immunity.
I'm a huge Lethal Weapon 2 guy, so I thought that was great.
That's a go-to outtake for me, definitely.
Yeah, just don't try to use it in real life. It doesn't work as well in real life. You get pulled over. And you tell the officer diplomatic immunity.
No.
They don't.
I thought you meant use it on your wife.
No, what I was going to say.
Diplomatic immunity.
No, but the line after that is Danny Glover right before he shoots the guy. He says your immunity's been revoked. And I'll just like randomly say that to my wife. It will have nothing to do with whatever we're talking about. I'll just go, your immunity has been revoked, and she'll just be like, God damn it. And then she'll just walk away from me.
This movie.
It's amazing.
Nice.
All right, let's move into keeping tabs.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
Ha ha! Oh, jeez.
This is the most public yet of my many humiliations.
We're just going to take a look at something else from the process of putting together the content for the week. Maybe a weird Google search, a deleted sin, whatever you want to do. Jonathan, why don't you kick us off? What's your
I just have like a few little random things. I only wrote on Invincible. I will say I wrote this in about, Run the Jewels is not my soundtrack in this scene. And I did randomly just listen to a bunch of Run the Jewels for like the next 2 weeks. So they were soundtracking my life, whether they wanted to or not.
Nice.
No, I love Run the Jewels. I've been a huge fan. I had to look up Kessler syndrome because Daniel wrote that sin, and Daniel's a lot smarter than me, and I had no idea what he was talking about. He uses a lot of big words that I don't know. And but I looked up Kessler syndrome. So I found out it was proposed by NASA scientist Donald Kessler. It's a scenario in which the density of objects in low Earth orbit, also referred to as LEO, I know that now, due to space pollution, is high enough that collisions between objects could cause a cascade in which each collision generates space debris that increases the likelihood of further collisions. So I guess I took that if you're in space, don't pollute. I think that's what that means. I
Basically, we already have. We've got so many things in orbit that are just hanging out there that we don't use anymore. And it's just...
We just let them break down and hopefully deorbit. But
why don't we have commercials about this? Like have a bear dressed in a spacesuit. He's like,
Only
like
you can prevent space pollution. Yeah.
So interestingly enough, I also did some research because I don't just pick a random holiday. I do research on this. So for this week, the research I did for holidays that happen on the 27th, I will not be using this one but I found it fascinating enough to look it up. Ian, you might be aware of this. Are you aware of Thomas Crapper Day?
Oh, yes.
He's the guy that made the toilet, I believe.
He did not invent the toilet, I found out, but he was the first one to popularize the home installment. I guess he popularized, he made it sellable as something
he made it mass producible or whatever it is.
He was able to use his skills as a shrewd businessman and salesperson to make it extremely popular. He essentially made bathroom fixtures and home a success, like people actually getting them in their home.
Nice.
So and they said they celebrate this in England. They said
we don't celebrate it at all. No.
You have manhole covers in Westminster Abbey that still have the Crapper Company name on them, and people actually go, like tourists, go check that out, which is interesting.
It makes sense.
I try to celebrate this like once a day, consistently, usually in the morning.
I mean, sometimes 3.
Sometimes mine aren't consistent.
If it's a heavy dairy day, maybe it might be 2 or 3 times. Like God bless you, Thomas Crapper.
Doing something so important, and then the thing that you're actually remembered for is poo. Yeah, just crap.
Yeah. I take it. It's immortality, man. It's immortality. I'll take it.
I'm sure he wiped his tears with $1 million bills. So I'm sure.
I'm sure him and his family were doing.
That's what he wiped. That's what he wiped with $1 million bills. His tears. His tears. Yes.
Nice.
I'll go next. This is actually a comment that leads into what I was going to use for my keeping tabs anyway. But Obina says, "Good thing he's not going anywhere." This is from the Arcane video. Says, okay, that one hurt. Y'all are evil. This is, of course, a reference to the fact that the father figure in Arcane does indeed go somewhere eventually in this show pretty quickly. I think episode 3, including a couple of those friends, spoiler alert, may happen as well. But there was a comment under this comment that says, it's Ned Stark all over again from Hawkins347. You have no idea how correct you are. This is the Keeping Tabs. I literally cut and paste the Ned Stark sin from our very first TVS for this and just changed the name.
Oh, wow.
It is literally the exact same sin we used for Ned Stark in the very first video.
We had debate about that too, about whether or not we should, because we were like, if this is going to work, we can't really get into like a lot of future stuff. Like the narrator's not supposed to know. So we created that. Hope that doesn't happen. Basically, became our
Yeah, it's become one of the trademarks of the channel, and so to do just a direct cut and paste, I thought was really fun because it is the most direct correlation for that character. It's very much the Ned Stark of Arcane.
That's cool that somebody's been with us that long and remembered that.
There you go.
That's amazing.
Ian, what about you?
I've got the kind of two-ish, but the newspaper article that is a joint effort between myself and Danae, mainly Danae, who found the article in the Princess Diaries and copied it out word for word. And at the time I said, please don't do this. Please don't do it. If this is going to take you anything longer than 5 minutes, do not do it. Hour and a half later, she's like, I'm done, I'm finished. And it is just this, gibberish article, which, of course, we got Jeremy to read, and then I put some music back to it, and it's available on the website if you want to have a look. But yeah, that was a lot of fun to make, and Jeremy should cold read.
There's a link on the video page too, I think. So
yeah, in the description of the video. So that was a lot of fun. But I was looking up words for drunk because there's a really, really drunk lord in the Princess Diaries, and I didn't just want to call him a drunk. I wanted to call him something else. So I had bibulous was the one that I eventually went with, and that comes from to imbibe. And if you imbibe a lot, you are bibulous. So I wasn't calling him a drunk. He just imbibes a lot of a certain liquid, and it happened to be alcohol. But it led me to a lot of other words for being drunk. So in one's cups, makes sense. Bevied from beverages. Brahms and Litzt. Pissed. Because that's quite an English one.
Yeah.
Mullered, I quite like. Swacked, soused, out of one's gourd, squiffed. Hey, that's one of mine.
Squiffy.
Shickered, as full as a goog. Half seas over. Don't know what. I have no idea what that's referring to. Munted, which sounds hideous. Sotted, crapulent, which I didn't know. Crapulous, ebrious, and arsehole.
Wow, it's amazing.
I had lots to choose from. It was great.
Nice. Very, very nice. All right, let's move into the comment section.
I want to know what you're thinking.
I appreciate your honesty. You're a real straight shooter.
You are the ones who are the ball lickers.
We're each going to pick a comment from the last week's content from the various places you reach out to us: Discord, YouTube, Reddit, wherever. Ian, go first. What's your comment?
Okay, I have got some stuff for nitpicking the nitpickers of the nitpickers.
Yes, bring it on.
Yes. So, we were questioning why Wenwu wanted to kill Trevor when he's really not a threat to Wenwu at all. And that the Mandarin would want to kill him because ancient crime bosses wouldn't have liked their name being taken in vain. So, he's an embarrassment to the name Mandarin, which is why he would be taken out. How do we feel?
No, because it's just like, what is the threat? So I guess the question is, are we saying then he's just doing it out of spite, like like there is no purpose to it other than you did this, so I'm going to kill you
to clear his name? Yeah, to like if he doesn't want the Mandarin associated with this clown.
I don't buy the clear his name part. I might buy the revenge part, but
because he thought it was funny too. Like he was telling when he told Shang-Chi and his daughter, he was like, he's like, it's hilarious that he's named after an orange or whatever. Like he was laughing about it. It would have made sense if he had gone after like the Guy Pearce character if he wasn't already dead. I guess maybe.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a red as well.
But we still got Trevor in the movie, which for some of us was a good thing.
Actually, no, that makes it a green. Actually, I agree with you. I agree with the commenter. This was a good one. So the sin is when I think it's Wenwu that's training and he's just getting sticks hit upon him. I was like, no, this isn't training. This is just getting the crap beaten out of you. Somebody says, it's actually a martial arts exercise. By regulating your breaths while taking hits, not only makes your body feel less pain. It also prevents you from flinching, making you more formidable in a fight. Discuss.
Maybe.
No, I'm fine with that one being a green. Like, I think that is a legit thing. As far
It's
as
still true.
It's still right, exactly. Like, in defense of the sin, it's still hilarious, and it's still one of those. The sin is doing exactly what it's intending to do. It's not literally saying nobody's ever done this or there isn't a purpose to it. It's saying, here's this other way to look at this. But yeah, no,
Look,
that's fine.
As someone who trained in martial arts at a strip mall in Brentwood, Tennessee, they never use sticks on us. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair.
Are you part of Kobra Kai?
They should have done. The famous Tennessee
We actually
branch
weren't
of
in a
Kobra
strip
Kai.
mall. We were in a country club because it was Brentwood, Tennessee.
Yeah, that's
Strip mall
Kobra
sounds
Kai.
funnier.
Nice.
Kobra Kai.
So a few people took a lot of issue with the Invincible video and feeding the hamburgers into the cloning machine.
Yeah.
So a lot of people thought
I
that
saw
was
that.
absolutely fine, but somebody hit the nail on the head slightly better than anyone else for me, and that was, it's not running the machine, it's being pulpified and then fed to the individual inside the cloning machine. So it's not running the machine, but it's feeding the organism.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, but you're feeding them frozen hamburgers. Like, I don't. That still is really weird.
What else are you going to feed him? What's wrong with that?
I guess it's fine. It was a funny moment. It was fun to send it.
Totally agree. It made me laugh that like 4 or 5 people were like, no, this is exactly how I run my cloning machine. Like, how else are you going to do it?
Yeah.
All the times I've had to clone people.
Have you
throw shade at me?
never had a cloning machine? Duh.
Come on. How else are you going to do
keep
it?
those
No,
clones
that's green.
fed, man.
That's fine. That's green.
Yeah, that's fair. That's all for me.
Very nice. Jonathan, what about you?
I just had a quick one. It was Invincible. It was Louis Bonilla, which, by the way, Louis, if you were listening to this and you were related to the great Bobby Bonilla, I would love a quick message to find out what actually goes on Bobby Bonilla Day, other than celebrating all that cash. I'm just really curious.
I
love how
sincerely
Ian's
hope
like,
you get an
what
email.
are you talking about?
I don't know what you mean.
It's sports, Ian. It's sports. Real quick, the New York Mets signed a crazy contract with Bobby Bonilla. Oh, never mind. You went away. No, I think it's done. But the thing was, the Mets were still paying this guy like 30 years after he was done with baseball. It was the way they structured the contract.
Yeah.
So every day, whenever that day was on Twitter and stuff, everybody'd be like, "Happy Bobby Bonilla Day," because he was getting a check.
He was still getting
like
money
$1 million
so long after he was
whatever.
out. Yeah.
That's
crazy.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
That's crazy.
Contracts are interesting in baseball.
I mean, it's no different than CEOs who draw, these crazy annual stipends
No, but
after.
that too is ridiculous.
Well, I know.
No,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That you have found
Yeah.
my point.
it's
Identified
it's
it
crazy.
correctly.
But Lewis said, "Now I'm no clone-making villain scientist." Oh, this is going off the hamburgers thing. Now I'm no clone-making villain scientist, but I would assume the hamburgers were either for biomass or for keeping the body fed while it grows, maybe even both. As far as how questionable that is, it's at least a cheap bulk option. So I thought that was really funny.
Oh, I love how independently people
Yeah.
came at that sin.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
weird what we as a people latch onto. It's great.
Yep. The one I wanted to mention was from Jeremy D, who brought up, based on the scooter sin, which I'll go ahead and read that sin. I'm not sure who decided to have this bus demolish a bunch of electric scooters. This is from Shang-Chi, by the way. But whoever you are, my friend, you are the true hero. I mean, I still have to send the electric scooters for existing, but I wanted you to know how much I appreciate you first. So in the comments, Jeremy D said the director, Destin Cretton, actually put that scene in the movie because of how much he hates those scooters. And he linked
Amazing.
to a breakdown of the bus fight scene from Vanity Fair where Destin Cretton literally says, I was so happy to be able to demolish all these scooters. And it just made me feel so good that
Justified.
you just knew there had to be someone who was like, we are absolutely having this bus crush a bunch of scooters. So thank you.
They were front and center.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy, for identifying that it was, in fact, the director
Why are those
of the
things
film.
so annoying? But they are.
Because they just get left around the city, I think, is the main thing. It's just
Right,
like...
two reasons for it personally, because Northampton is one of the few cities where they are rampant. They're everywhere. Now, they are too fast to go on the pavement/sidewalk because they are dangerous, but they are too slow to go on the road because you will get crushed by a car that is doing twice your speed. There is no place for them. I know that they're great for the environment and they're good for commuting, but they are dangerous.
Yeah. So the danger...
That's my rant.
Yeah, it's probably another part of it. For sure.
I was in downtown Indianapolis real quick a couple weeks ago for my daughter's cheer event. By the way, people live in Indianapolis. Downtown Indianapolis is beautiful. That
it really is. Indianapolis is a great city.
It's a really cool downtown area. But it's like it was in the first thing in the morning. We were close enough to where we could walk to the event, walk to the Coliseum or whatever, and it was like 15 degrees. And there was like this dad and like his 3 or 4 kids on these scooters, and I was like trying to figure out like, are you the best dad ever or the worst? Because like there was like ice on the ground. I mean, nothing about this was like made any sense. It wasn't safe. It was too cold to have your kids out there. I don't know. It was just, that was the first time I'd seen them, and I was like, this is just weird. Like, what is going on here, you know?
Well, there you go. So thank you to the director, Destin Daniel Cretton, who actually hates scooters as well. So I appreciate it. All right, let's move into Beyond the Sins.
To infinity and beyond.
Somewhere beyond my wild history.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
We're each going to chat about something else from the world of pop culture that we've seen recently. I will kick us off. I actually already mentioned it. Kobra Kai has a new season out on Netflix. I did get a chance to binge my way through it. I don't understand why I love this show so much. It is one of those shows where it's like, I am hungry for it for some reason, and I can't it's got to just be the nostalgia thing, right? Like, it's just got to be, there's something about that formula of the original Karate Kid of training leads to tournament competition. I don't know what it is, but I can't get enough of it, and just binged it immediately. It's, it is what it is. The acting is not like stellar. The plotting is very predictable in many ways. It is a series, and I think we send this when we send the pilot. It is just a series of relationship triangles. Like, it's just, who can we make in a relationship triangle now? And I don't even mean love triangles necessarily. I mean like relationship triangles. And so you have all these, and now there's a third dojo in this new season. And so now there's all these other different shapes that they're able to make with these betrayals and revenges and all this kind of stuff that's going on. But
has Elizabeth Shue been on it yet?
Yes.
They had an Elizabeth. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so they've gotten everybody.
Extended cameo,
Cool.
For an episode or two. Yeah. So
it's like the Rocky syndrome. It's that kind of format, isn't it? Enjoying the template of a Rocky film.
Yeah, I think that might be a part of it. But
it is an example of, I think, one of the few legacy, sequels or whatever you want to call these things that that works clearly. I mean,
and I think it's because they take the canonic history of the films seriously. Like, they don't take the show completely over seriously, but they take like what happened, and we're going like this season in many ways revolves around Terry Silver, who I don't know if you know, but was the Karate Kid 3 kind of villain that, if I remember correctly, like trained Daniel to be more aggressive and hateful and whatever. And he's kind of like the primary, baddie in season 4. And I don't know, it's just really interesting. It takes all of the movies seriously and brings all of these characters back, and yet introduces you to this next generation in this town that apparently all kids do is karate. Like, I mean, how do you have 3 giant dojos of, kids, and then the karate tournament, the All Valley Karate Tournament every year has, thousands, 10,000 people attend it, somehow. Where is this town?
Like Glee. It's like Glee. It's like all these
exactly.
Glee clubs are everywhere, and they have these.
Yeah. So anyhow,
Thomas Ian Griffith, by the way, is the actor that plays Mr. Silver, and he was tried to be a little bit of like a Van Damme or something back in the 90s. Didn't really go his way, but he's it's nice to have him back.
So Kobra Kai season 4 is on Netflix.
Nice.
Jonathan, why don't you go next?
Yeah, I've still only seen the pilot because we send it, and I definitely need to get into that at some point. But it's
I'm having fun.
that list of what I need to watch just gets bigger every day.
Right.
So
yeah.
One movie I knocked off of it, and don't really care that I did, but The Eternals is on Disney Plus now, and I did not see this in the theater. It's one of only like 2 or 3 MCU movies I haven't seen in the theater, and the main thing was I couldn't go. I think opening weekend I had stuff going on, and then everything about this movie was so blah that I was like, I don't know that I want to go sit down for 2 hours and 40 minutes and watch this.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, but then it came on Disney Plus, and I will say, I thought I was going to actually have a fairly positive reaction to it, just because a lot of the times when these things get built up a certain way, it's really easy to kind of, be like, well, it wasn't that bad. It's that bad. I'm willing to say, and I will also say, even if you're a completist, I don't know that you really need to watch this movie. Like, I don't know that you watching this movie really has much effect on, like, I don't know how much this movie has an effect on the MCU, I guess, in general. Like, unless I guess there's sequels or something. And it does say the Eternals will return at the end.
Yeah,
so.
and I mean, they're starting a new phase, so who knows?
You never know.
Who knows which of these characters will show up in some sort of
it's
cameo.
on Disney Plus, so you can watch it in like 30-minute increments or however you choose to do it.
Over the course of 7 months.
It is
if you really want to put yourself through that, yeah.
It is really long. Have you seen it too, Ian?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's bottom 5 MCU for me. I really disliked it.
It's not my least favorite. Like I still think like Iron Man 2 is worse than this, and maybe Thor: The Dark World. But
Iron Man 2 is shorter.
Yeah, that's true. I like this. I like most of the cast for the most part, but I love Gemma Chan. Love her. Hope she gets more starring vehicles because she's great. But I will say the thing about this movie, though, in all seriousness, the thing I don't think works is, for me, it's just because we don't know these characters at all, and there's so many of them. You're like an hour and a half in, and they're still doing like backstories, and they're still setting up the plot. Unlike Shang-Chi, this might be some of the worst action I've ever seen in one of these movies. I think it's interesting that people that defend this say that, well, it's not trying to be a typical MCU movie. I don't know that that's true. I just don't think it's very good when it is trying to be one, because there definitely is action in this movie, but it's just not interesting at all. Angelina Jolie looks like she doesn't even want to be there half the time. So I don't know why I just said most of the cast is good, because some of them aren't actually. I still don't even know what Kit Harington's what that's about. It's really weird to me how so many of the Game of Thrones actors, when I see them in other things, I really don't like them very much. They were like so compelling on Game of Thrones, and then you see him in something else, you're like, I don't know that you're a good actor. Like, I'm so confused.
The Kit Harington stuff was like a post-credit scene that they decided to put in the movie.
Yeah, that was weird too.
Yeah,
that was weird. Not to give too much away.
Setting up some sort of dark, mystical, medieval kind of thing with that character. Yeah.
But that was the thing for me. The main problem I had with it was, and it's not even, I mean, I guess you can call it boring. I always think that's a real easy word to use, but there's so much plot. Like, I have never seen this much plot in one of these movies. And it takes so long to set it up that by the time they get around to it, you've got like 20 minutes left. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know what it's trying to do at that point. I think this would have been better as a series, maybe.
Totally.
I don't know, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe these characters just aren't gonna interest us. This is not one I ever read comics on. I have heard the new comic book series is stellar. So maybe that's something I'll check out at some point. But I did not like this movie. But it's on Disney Plus. Like I said, if you are gonna watch it, I would recommend the 30-minute increments. It might go down a little better.
The difficult part about all the plot it's trying to do and all the character setup it's trying, I think it's mainly the character setup. I don't think the plot's that bad.
No, it's just there's a lot.
Honestly, I don't think the characters are that bad. I think given more time and like a series to flesh them out, I actually might like this group of people. But this is Marvel's Justice League, right? Like, this is Marvel going, like, how are we going to introduce... And the thing I don't understand is a couple things. One is you give this to Chloe Zhao, whose whole thing is being slow. Like, and I don't mean that even pejoratively. I mean, she's beautiful. She makes beautiful films, but her whole thing is living in these beautiful vistas and you're asking her to do all this character work, all this plot work, and still linger on sunsets. And like, it's just not going to happen. And then the second thing is, you've got X-Men coming. Why are you introducing another version of the X-Men?
Oh, my goodness.
I just don't understand how, like, if this is a dry run for how they're going to introduce X-Men, watch out, because they need to do much less. They it's, you know, it has to be much more considered and bring them together slowly, because it's just impossible to do in the course of one film with this many people.
The thing I found the most interesting, but also irritated me the most, it was interesting, but the whole plot point that, because there's questions brought up in the movie, well, why the hell didn't you like try to save us when, you know, Thanos was around? And why didn't you stop, you know, if you've been around this long, why didn't you stop the Holocaust from happening? And they have this whole thing where they're not allowed to interfere. They're basically only allowed to observe unless, I guess, these creatures, what is it, Dementors, or is that Harry Potter, or is it the same thing? I can't remember what they're called.
I think it's
Deviants.
Deviants, thank you. Dementors is Harry Potter, right? So the Deviants come, they can go in and stop them from doing anything, but they can't interfere, which is interesting because they do play off this whole thing about how these characters are dealing with the fact that they've had to watch all this death and destruction that they could have stopped, but they're not allowed to. Like, that's fascinating. But the thing I don't get is, but they're a lot like that one guy, he invents stuff for people. So like, you're still, and I'm sure we'll talk about this whenever we send it, you're still like interacting and you're still affecting the outcome. I mean, they probably created the weapons that are used to have wars. It's just, I don't know. And maybe all that just got jumbled in because there was all this other stuff going on, so maybe that just didn't get enough attention. But like, I was very confused.
Well,
it's implied that his meddling goes on to create the atom bomb.
Yeah.
Well, that's a terrible scene. That scene is just like
that was awful.
In weirdly insensitive, and like it's just it's a really strange thing. But I think clearly what they're trying to do here, and I imagine the source material was trying to do, is to create a superhero version of angels and demons, right? Like they're trying to create the idea of religious stories that use protectors and, you know, deviants or whatever you want to call them, based on the command of an overseeing, all-seeing God, right? And so it wants to deal with these deep religious themes of inaction versus action. You know, is God not acting a sign of love or a sign of dispassion? Or like, it wants to deal with all these deep things. And for that, I love it. Like, I want it to. I want it to really explore that stuff, but it just doesn't have time to do that, plus everything else it's trying to do. Well, so, yeah.
And this is a weird comparison, but Midnight Mass on Netflix is really, the thing I took away from that is how I've never seen something do such a great job of giving you like a genre related product and deal with a lot of the things, like deal with things like faith and and religion and beliefs, and show how that can complicate, you know, I'm not explaining this well, but I don't. But that just made me think of that.
But do it in a really even-handed way, as
right?
Well.
Yes.
Well, you've got a whole series to do it in too. You know, instead of just trying to squeeze it into 2 hours.
But to be fair, it's probably not that much longer than the Eternals.
I know the hesitation to not make it a series was because the Inhumans bombed so hard, and the Inhumans are dragged from the same.
Well, yeah, because the Inhumans were going to be their X-Men when they didn't own X-Men. They were going to make that was the plan. Yeah.
But just because it didn't work in the past doesn't mean you don't give it another go now that you have a new set of tools to play with.
But, yeah.
But it's insane how many teams Marvel has that are all the exact same. I mean, it's like, you know, it's
pretty much.
It's nuts.
Yeah. Ian, what about you? What's your Beyond the Sins?
So it's one from a film from a few years back that I just ticked off because enough people said great things about it, and that's Jojo Rabbit.
Nice, cool.
Absolutely love Taika Waititi. Wanted to see this when it came out. I think it was 2017 or 18 before the world ended. And yeah, really, really loved the premise. And wasn't disappointed when I eventually came to watch it. the really quick premise is that it's set during the closing stages of World War II, and it follows a young boy who's about to join the Hitler Youth program, and his imaginary friend is Hitler, as played by Taika Waititi. And it just gives the film great license to make Hitler do some ridiculous things and just make a caricature out of him without it being Inglourious Bastards, where you're still saying that is Hitler and he did this ridiculous stuff. You can say, yeah, well, it's all in his head, so we're not being unhistorical here. This is just how this kid was brainwashed into seeing his fearless leader. It starts off, throughout, it's really funny, and it delivers its message in a really humorous and sincere way, and then smacks you with some absolute trauma. And there's definitely some not for the faint of heart moments in the film, some moments that'll most likely, probably bring you to tears and make you cry, but it never feels preachy. It never feels, it never feels over the top for me. Just handled really well, and just a really, really, really good story. Taika should do everything. He's great. He's just an excellent filmmaker for me.
What sticks out to me from Jojo, there's several things, but one of the things that I keep coming back to is he does this thing where he has a series of cuts that just show houses, and all the houses have two things in common. They all have attics, and they all look like their faces. Like the houses are, smiling or making a face. It is one of the most subtly brilliant thematic things I've seen in a movie in a long time, because you can think about that for a while and think of, what that means in the context of, hiding Jews during the Holocaust and, happy homes and what is a happy home. And it's just, So just brilliant stuff like that. I just go, Taika, you've got some stuff going on upstairs that I really, really like. So
this was his follow-up to Ragnarok, right?
I think so. Yeah. And considering he almost presents himself as a bit of a clown and a bit of a caricature himself, that deep thematic stuff was like, whoa, I didn't realize these are the kind of films that you were going to make. It's so good. It's so good. Chef's kiss.
Very nice. Jojo Rabbit is available to stream on Max Go. If you don't have Max Go, it should be available to rent or buy in most of the places.
And Disney Plus in the UK.
The Eternals is available on Disney Plus here, and Kobra
and Disney
Kai.
Plus in the UK.
And Disney Plus in the UK. And Kobra Kai is available on Netflix, I assume, in both places as well. Season 4 is there. Well, that's going to do it for Behind the Sins this week. Don't forget to make sure you're subscribed and go ahead and leave a comment or rating as well. If you've got anything you want to send to us, you can mail it to us, P.O. Box 881, Republic, Missouri, 65738. You can hang out with us on Twitter. I'm at Aaron Dicer. He's at Wits End.
WHITTSINNED. I'm not asleep.
And at Sam Loomis 13. So for Jonathan Watkins, Ian Whittington, some loops of fruits, and myself, we will see you next week.
Happy World Breast Pumping Day.
Oh, nice. Very nice. No, it's good.
Real quick, you might want to include this, Ian, because Danae told me to. I actually sent her a Slack notification that said, hey, this is what I'm thinking about saying today. I'm just making sure there's no way that could be offensive. Offensive.
Yeah.
And she's like, no. She's like, I love it. She's like, even tell him Danae said it was okay.
Thanks for listening. Send any feedback to bts@cinemasins.com, and be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment. Find more ways to connect by visiting cinemasins.com/bts.
Celebrate the breasts. The pumping, I mean.
You're the breast.
The pumping of the, yes.
Wait, oh God, we made this weird.
Danae no longer approves. Danae no longer approves.
Yeah.
She has cast us to the side.
Oh God, yeah, it's 6:00, so you're about to watch the Jeffersons? I had no idea what you're about to do.
Yeah, I'm going to watch whatever that is.
That was a sitcom from the 70s and 80s.
Great. I've got 4 crumpets to eat and the Jeffersons to watch.
I don't want you guys to get too upset about this, but I read this morning that after almost 3 seasons, Julian McMahon is leaving FBI Most Wanted. Very sorry.
I don't know any of the words that you just said.
I don't know why. I just thought it was funny. That was obviously there are people. obviously there are people that watch that show, but in my mind, I feel like there are people that are probably not going to JoeBlow.com. That's just my guess.
I don't know how we continue on with the show this morning after that news. Is there a reason to even podcast anymore?
There was also one of my favorite articles, which I call "Actor Says They're Willing to Take a Job If Offered." Kelly Hu said she would return to X-Men. It's like, no shit. Like, why wouldn't she? I mean...
There's some real negative tendencies in modern quote-unquote journalism because of the need to have grabby headlines and get clicks and all that kind of stuff. That they're not clickbait per se, but they're just misleading, and they're not even really misleading. It's just that it doesn't mean anything. They just don't mean.
There's not a story there.
There's no story there, and sometimes they make a story out of no story. For instance, this week was full of was it Ariana DeBose from West Side Story, who just hosted SNL or whatever, and there was a little bit on Twitter, like a few people on Twitter who were like, I don't like her energy. She's, kind of got like that theater kid energy, and it's a little too much for me. And somebody wrote an article on it and was like, the internet hates Ariana DeBose. And it's like, no, not really. You just cherry pick some Twitter. Like it's what I call the corporeal straw man. The idea that you can create a straw man out of actual people's opinions because we have everybody's opinions, and somebody somewhere has a stupid opinion that we used to put on a straw man, but now we can actually find the person.
Oh man, that is the most meta straw man. It's an Inception straw man. It's an Inception Strowman. Yeah, that's crazy. You may as well just say people somewhere say, yeah, there's 7 billion of us. I guarantee at least 5 of them say that. It's like that article that I can't remember who shared it in Slack, but about U2. And how Bono, they found the 5 most negative things that Bono said in the entire interview,
right,
and smushed it into one damn sentence, and as if he was saying, "I don't know how to sing. I hate the name of the band, and I hate most of the songs." That is absolutely the words he said, but not what he meant at all. No. It's the worst.
I mean, Ian could do that to us every week if he wanted. You could make it sound like...
You clearly don't listen to the episodes.
I like self-checkout if I've got like a handful of things. Like, I think it's awesome because then I don't have to talk to anybody, and that's fun. But
that's ideal. Not talking
if I've got like a huge cart and I've got like produce and everything, do they have self-checkout in England at the grocery stors?
Oh, definitely. Like it's genuinely on the verge of outnumbering human checkouts. And I am all for it. Like that is perfection.
But they usually have at least 2 or 3 registers open. But I've never, I don't go that often this early. So
it's a no-brainer for me. Like you have one person that can man. That was an odd thing to say. You have one person that can person. Why specify any of that? Yeah, that can operate 10 checkouts that are self-service. Just ditch all of your registers. Like we have some that are like they're extended ones, so you can fit a whole trolley or cart worth of shopping on them. So
I feel like I should be paid like after I do that much like checking out and bagging.
I'm willing to pay extra to not have to speak to somebody. Like that's fine.
Walmart's cool because you can actually put stuff back in your cart. Kroger is typically like an alarm, like not alarm goes off, but it keeps saying like put your stuff back in the area, the bagging area. So there's not a lot of room there. So it's kind of a pain to.
The place where I do my groceries have these portable scanners, and if you sign up to their point system, whatever it is, you can pick up a scanner, just open up all of your bags and then scan all of the shopping into there. And I've done that 5 or 6 times, and every single time I've been randomly selected for an enhanced check, which means that they then go through all of my shopping and scan it again and then leave me to rebag it. And I'm like, I am this close to just ditching this because this is not what the points club system is all about.
How is that easier for them? Like, I mean, it'd be better if they just did it.
Yeah, it's to make sure that I'm not stealing something. But I guarantee you, unless I'm stealing everything, it is not worth your time in doing this. Whatever you paid that person to do it, I've stolen less than that, I promise.
That's irritating too, Because I've had like the alarm thing go off even when I scanned everything, and that's annoying because it just makes you look like everybody's looking at you like you're a thief or something. And then you go back and one time the guy just waved me on. I guess they were having issues with it that day, so I guess I could have stolen stuff that day, but I didn't.
Oh no! So speaking as somebody in retail, just wave them on. Like it is just not worth the effort, because if you have stolen something, I then have to confront you about stealing something, and it's the best case scenario is that I wave you on.
Here's the thing. If you're making me scan all this shit, most of the time it's going to be I forgot to scan something. It wasn't on purpose. It was just
exactly.
And it's not my job.
Mistake.
Like, it's not my job to do this. It's like I'm helping you out. Hello, Fred.
That is how I've started it before, isn't it?
Let's do it. Yeah. Fresh? Hello? Hello? Are you there, Fresh?
Hello,
it's me again, Margaret.
Fresh. Yeah,
there's the commercial. Done. Finished.
All over.
What is Cetacean Ops?
Oh.
Is that a Star Trek thing?
That is a Star Trek thing.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what that is.
So there's I can see Aaron twitching. There is so on TNG, they walk past a door, and on this door it says Cetacean Ops, and cetacean refers to whales, which means that there is an entire lab dedicated to whales.
I never noticed that.
Operations of some sort, and then Lower Decks actually showed it to us. So yeah, it's really cool.
Is this your new camera that you're fed up with?
No, it's not. It's been delivered, but I haven't. I've just got back, so now I'm gonna stick with it for this show, and then I can change it over.
Danae's kind of fed up with the new camera, so like,
no,
I know,
really?
Yeah,
Aaron,
it's not
you
working.
Made her get a new phone and a new camera, both of which she hates.
Totally my fault. Everything is my fault.
Well, anything is better than this crap, honestly. Like, I have to keep fingering my lens to get into focus.
No, we're not. No.
That's how it gets infected.
Nope. Not going there. Nope.
That's how you get COVID. You finger your lens.
I don't think so. No. I don't think so.
I read that on a reputable website.
Yeah. E-magazine.
Started with a Q. I don't know.
Is E-Online still a thing?
I believe so.
Probably.
Entertainment Weekly still exists, even though it's Entertainment Monthly, but they won't change the name.
Yeah,
well, that's dumb.
It's true. All right, we got 10 minutes left to do this ad. Let's do it. Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. Oh, welcome to Behind.
What are you doing
Behind
here?
the Sins. I see RB Goldbat. I see Nick Jagged. I see Apathy Nihilist. I see JCD. I see Slab Bulkhead. Sorry, I was doing a Romper Room thing. Romper Room, anyone?
No, actually, I had no idea. I was just like, all right, this is what Aaron's doing.
Leave it to me to pick like a 1930s children's show to imitate as we start.
Was that a PBS thing or?
I don't remember. I just remember it had that intro where they would like say children's names at the beginning, where they're like, "Oh, I see," such and such, and I was always like, "Aaron? Is it Aaron?" No, it was never Aaron.
Aaron with one A. Damn it.
That's right. Yeah, they never put any of the names up in text until it was Aaron, and they were like, no, ERIN. Nope. Not you. Ian, what about your childhood in England? What was like the kids show that you watched growing up?
Well, other than being nursed by Mary Poppins and drinking a lot of tea.
Right. Other than that.
What did I... So I was, for some... I know exactly why. So, man, I don't know how we're going to get around to children's shows, but my dad is a massive fan of the Formula One, which is like... what's the one where you guys drive in circles?
NASCAR.
It's like NASCAR, but for intelligent people.
Well, we have Formula One. We have Formula One racing here. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Perfect. So he loves Formula One, loves it to death. Now, the only way to get it was with this cable package, and I was like the only kid at school that had cable TV. So I was the only one that could watch Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. So I was raised on like a lot of American cartoons.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you what English kids watched. There was something called Saturday Morning Live. It was like SMTV something, and it had some famous people with goo. And all of my friends, both of them, were talking about this show at school. And I was like, I don't know what that is, because I was watching Dexter's Lab or Wacky Races or Tom and Jerry or something. So yeah, whatever you guys watched was pretty much what I watched.
Yeah, like Dexter's Lab and like the stuff like Tom and Jerry, like that kind of stuff feels more like 7 to 10 age range, maybe. Like I'm thinking, like, what do you remember? Like any shows from like that, kindergarten, first grade, kind of thing where it's really dialed down,
Really dialed down.
Yeah, like Mr. Rogers. Did you have Mr. Rogers? Did you like?
No.
Captain Kangaroo.
Didn't have that over here. Nope.
What was the one with the lamb puppet?
Oh.
The lamb
Sherry
puppet?
Lewis or something?
Yeah, Sherry Lewis. What was that called? Lamb Chop was the name of the puppet, I think. Yeah. But
no idea. I definitely watched the Teletubbies, even though I think I was possibly too old.
Okay, so I just looked up I just found a UK popular and forgotten kids TV shows from the 80s through the 2010s. There's one called Round the Twist.
Okay.
Nope.
That was in the 90s. I'm looking for 90s stuff. Funhouse.
Oh, Neil Morrissey's Funhouse. Yeah, but that wasn't like a morning show. That was like an evening. So have you seen Mr. Blobby? It says it's
like a game show or something.
Right. Google Mr. Blobby right now. And this show gave me nightmares because of Mr. Blobby.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That is...
And can I tell you what his catchphrase was?
Please.
Yes, please.
He would run onto stage saying "Blobby, Blobby, Blobby," but with like a voice modulator, so he sounded like the guy from Saw. It was terrifying.
Oh, wow.
And his thing was that he would run in and fall down. So if there was a podium that the guy doing the quiz was using, he would knock that over. Things that you thought were cemented to the ground, this creature would run in and just knock it down. Mr. Blobby face mask.
Mr. Blobby face mask, indeed.
Oh, that's how popular he is.
That's how popular
Terrifying.
Mr. Blobby is.
Funnily enough, I nearly put a Mr. Blobby reference into the Princess Diaries because one of the dresses looked like Mr. Blobby got skinned and then worn as a dress. I was like, 10 kids from the 90s will know what I'm talking about, and that's it.
I wrote a reference to something in a recent script, and it's not something that's aired yet, but it's just a recent script. But I wrote in the notes, three people will get this reference, and I want to be friends with all of them.
Nice.
The SuffolkGazette.com has an article called "Mummified Remains of Mr. Blobby Found in Cupboard."
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Yeah, I can't believe I screwed the intros. I'm
welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. I've done it more than once, so you still haven't beat me.
And nobody caught it?
Only Dicer.
Oh, Dicer caught it. Good. No, I didn't. You talking about the segment intros?
The segment intros, yeah.
Yeah, no, I probably just kind of like I'm usually doing stuff while I'm listening, so
it's in the background because you assume that this idiot can get that bit right.
Like you check that your kids brush their teeth, but you don't check that they actually stepped out of their bed in the morning. Like that seems like,
well, they brushed it with a toothbrush and not a nail.
Yeah.
My daughter's pretty bad. She still thinks she can get away with like not doing that. And my wife always like used to smell her breath. And for some reason now my wife makes me do it. I'm like, I don't want to smell her breath. Like I know she didn't.
I do want to be clear. I did not catch it. Somebody on Discord mentioned it, and so I passed it along. Because I wouldn't, like Jonathan said, I'm not spot checking those. They all sound right to me for every segment because I know them all by heart. So
they kind of all work.
So yeah, no, I have definitely done that more than once. So you shouldn't
that's
feel
great.
too bad.
Discord probably thinks that you're still editing. So yeah, really looking forward to talking about KitchenAid, by the way.